Yo, I ain't even gonna hold you. From a shot that makes you think he was dapping up the Joker, to OTM's return, Trick attacking Ricky, and did I hear a Day of the Dead match? This is what NXT had in store for us, and I ain't even expected. NXT started off with our NXT champ, Ricky Saints, calling out Trick Williams, ultimately how last week Trish just ditched him, man. He ditched him, and Ricky was just tight, and he was so tight that he just challenged him to a match at Halloween Havoc. But then Trick showed up, but on the Tron, and ultimately said how, Ricky's following in his footsteps, how he's the MVP, as in Trick's the MVP of NXT this year. And honestly, I ain't gonna argue. He definitely a contender for MVP of NXT. Him and Oba. But I don't know if I really count Trick, though, because he was carrying TNA. But, we'll see how that goes. But ultimately, Trick says, nah, we ain't gonna do that. We're gonna do it on my time. Honestly, gotta respect it. He just carried the brand and, mind game. So I get it. But then later in the night, Trick attacked Ricky and letting Ava setting up next week a contract signing. So we'll see what we got next week. Then there was a backstage promo with segment with Leon and Javon, ultimately reminiscing about their match at Bound for Glory. Definitely a baller match. I wish it never got interrupted by the people they were talking about in the conversation, Dark State. And then that's when the Hardys came in, congratulated them on their match and how they tore the house down. And then, they was also saying how they'll handle Dark State because they had a match at Halloween Havoc for the NXT titles against them. So, we'll see where that goes as well. And then it was the match. Matt Cardona versus Josh Briggs. And I grew up watching Matt Cardona, a.k.a. Zack Ryder, the whole woo-woo. Bro, I was really in there with my headband doing the whole motion for real. But honestly, the match, it was gas. I loved it. It was high octane and everything. Then, he hit the Prettier, being like with his wife being Chelsea Green. And then, it was this part of the match where Josh had the chain. The ref took it and he hit the radio silence, Rough Rider, And then, and I thought he had it. But then the ref counted 2, and I was like, yo, this match about to be balling. I was like, what else he got in his stash for real? Then he went on the middle rope. He hit the, he didn't hit it, but I thought he was going to hit the super radio silence Rough Rider thing. Then Josh reversed. And then, Josh came up with the victory with the big boot. So, it was a really good match. I was rooting for Cardona, but I'm definitely excited to see where this is going. There was also this backstage, I won't even say promo, mostly like a stalker, the anonymous person. Still don't even know who that is. I think it's going like on 3 years strong, not knowing who this is for real. But, it was Kalani and Jordan Grace. Kalani ultimately, she was also tight about how Jordan, referee last week. And saying how she was a big fish in a small pond, yada, yada, yada. Then Jordan, she was also like, well, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be champ. So something along those lines, heat. And, that'll definitely play a factor in later this video. There was also a backstage segment with Chase U, Hank and Tank, and Lyra. Also, they were discussing how after the Hardys and Dark State match, who's going to be next up as the #1 contenders for the tag titles. But then Lyra, she ultimately was, she was congratulating both, but she was also asking, where's Tatum? So then the Cullen pulled up. Then, Izzy saw the opportunity, I guess, and just roasted all of them. And then also saying how she's going to win the Women's Battle Royale later tonight. Lyra's actually wondering, like, what about Tatum? Izzy snatched Tatum and said, what about Tatum? Well, then also later in that match, on the night, Ava had booked a triple threat tag match. The Cullen, Chase U, Hank and Tank. Baller match. For some reason, it's like WWE don't really give the tag team division opportunities, but when they do, they always slap, bro. Like everything, like from the I remember like Nico hitting a mean forearm. I was like, dang, bro. Then it was like a spaceman plancha, I believe, that Nixon hit. Then there was just this cool segment, everybody was going back and forth. So honestly, I loved the match, but it got interrupted by the return in OTM. And boy, that tag division just got a little hot, boy. As the Booger said, little of that Cholula green, man. But that joint, that was gas. So I'm definitely excited to see where this story's going. Then there was a promo package with Fatal Influence, ultimately saying how they dominate the NXT women's side of the division and how lately they've had like an anchor, a weak link, which was Jasmine Nix. So, Langley Reeve being in the hoodie costing Lola, she also attacked Jasmine the next following week of NXT, and saying how she was better without something like that. And that's their new member now. So honestly, Langley Reeve with them, I actually love it. It's a new scenery, and Jasmine she didn't want to re-sign with WWE, so I like to improvise. I like it. I love it. Then it was the Zarya and Blake Monroe match. Really good match. It was solid, very solid. But the key moment of the match is when Mariah actually used the chair to distract the ref, but Soul actually got the chair. And then while the ref was distracted, wow, my bad, not Mariah, Blake Monroe, she actually used the hair pick and got Zarya on the throat and picked up the dub. So honestly, pretty solid match. Pretty solid match. Then also it was a backstage promo, and after the match, Soul actually felt bad for Zarya and gave Zarya her spot in the Women's Battle Royale. So I also thought that was pretty sweet too. Was the match with El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. versus Lexi King. Nothing really to talk about in the match. It was more after the match. When Wagner called out Ego, Ego came out. Wagner saying something in Spanish to Ego about how Ego's been talking mad trash. But then Ego also has said everybody's coming for him, as in with the champ. And how he talked to Ava, and now they got a match at Halloween Havoc. But then Wagner came back and said, nah, this ain't no normal match. He said it's gonna be a day to dead. In my mind, I was like, it's a no holds barred match, sure. But the whole thing being day to dead, I'm super excited to see how that goes. And I feel like that's gonna be a sleeper match for sure. Because Ego, with his reign just now, is crazy. He's definitely an underrated North American title reign. And I say when it's all said and done, he's definitely going to be top 5. I want to say cracking top 3 of best North American champions. But West being number 1, who sadly got released recently. So, best wishes to West. And the men's speed championship tournament was announced on NXT with the four participants being Sean Legacy, Zachary Wentz, Jasper Troy, and Axiom. So I'm super excited for that as well. Then the main event, boy, I was so happy for this match. I was waiting for it too. I had Jordan Grace winning the full thing. But honestly, love the match. It's like for some reason this year the females, they just been putting on baller matches, ultimately better than the males. And it was nothing disappointing about the match. I loved the whole thing with Lash and Mara Sade, formerly Miss Jackson, Jakara Jackson. It was just really cool. Then how everybody hoisted up Lash to toss her out. I thought that was really cool because her being a giant in the women's division, I thought that was really cool. Then the Inspiration, they were low-key cleaning house too. They were eliminating people. Like, I thought the cool spot of the whole match was when she was trying to escape, and then she was on the outside and she slipped off the the pole. So that was pretty cool. Then it was the final 4. It was Kendall, Tatum, Izzy, and Jordan. I for sure thought Jordan had this in the bag. But then when Kendall got out, I was like, all right, getting a little closer. Then when Tatum had Jordan like a chokehold like thing, and Izzy saw the opportunity to clothesline, I did not expect that ending. Tatum winning by Izzy and Jordan just both feet hitting the ground. Yo, that pop was crazy. Crazy. It was like kind of like, not really, but kind of sort of along the line of the Sammy when he beat Solo for the US. That was a crazy pop as well. But it was just such a good moment, man. I definitely got my seat and I was like, yeah, I love this. Then that's when JC came out, and then they showed how it was going to be JC versus Tatum at Halloween Havoc for the championship match. Thought that was really, really, really a cool moment. And then Lyra coming out too. That was pretty cool. So ultimately it's just a good episode, man. It was a great episode of NXT. Nothing to complain about, just good old NXT TV. So yeah, I'll definitely make another review, and I'll keep y'all posted. So y'all stay safe and tune in next time. Peace.